When I first started, it was all about just like learning the riff, almost trying to get into the guitar player's head. A good example would have been like Rage Against the Machine. I would just try to learn it like Tom Morello played it, but then later on in my life, like these days, I'll kind of dance around the metronome, which I kind of discovered for me personally is the way to find what pocket or what groove I want to be in. And I think for me these days, that's the most important part of playing guitar, is like when you are properly in the groove with everybody in the band, you'll see everybody in the crowd's heads bobbing, and I think it all kind of stems from Joe Strummer saying that like, if people can't dance to it, I mean, he doesn't want to play it.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, I like avant-garde music as well, but if you can't dance to music, I mean, I want to reach people with music. I don't think I think at first when I started playing music, I was like, I don't fucking care who likes this. I like it. I want to do what I like.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to want to do what I like. That's a given. Why would you ever do anything that you don't like? That's a very important thing in bands, to, once you have that riff down, like listen to how everyone else is playing, and you all got to play it with the same groove, or complement each other in some way.
Right? That kind of stuff.
Second verse.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just always drawn to any musical instrument would plunk away at a piano or whatever was around. But I think it was, I mean, the first concert I went to was Motley Crue, and then I got into sort of metal, I guess, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. Just like really good, tasteful guitar playing, Led Zeppelin. Like I started learning stuff like that before I even really liked it. And then got into like, I guess, post-punk and stuff like Sonic Youth, noisy, dissonant guitars, and then I don't know, kind of put it together for punk rock.
I think the first time I ever played guitar, I wasn't playing guitar. I was basically screwing the legs off of this big chalkboard my aunt got me to do math on. But I figured out a way to unscrew the legs, because if you took the legs in your hand, it looked like a flying V. And I had seen like on Much Music, like Jimi Hendrix playing one of these things. I was like, oh yes! So I just put on a record and pretend I was playing the Flying V. And that eventually morphed into me going to see my cousins play music. And they were a massive influence. I went to my cousin's basement, picked up a guitar, literally started playing it like this, like Jeff Healey almost. And then he was like, no, take it, put it on your lap, play it like this, and then check out these guitar magazines. And the first one I kind of gravitated towards was a magazine that had the tab for Cotton Amash by Anthrax. And that was the first riff I ever learned. And I remember learning it like, and then eventually learned to flip my hand around and
I think maybe the first, I mean, Smoke on the Water is one that everyone learns just because it's catchy, or Iron Man or something like that, but it's just, I mean, it's got a little bit of lead in the riff, but the riff is percussive, and it's just a badass riff.
For Sum 41, actually, one of the big influences on the kind of like us being comfortable with putting metal in our music was Gob.
Yeah, I mean, we did it. There were bands like the Southern California punk bands were kind of doing it in a seamless way because they like thrash music.
And they were metal bands before they became...
And I mean, Gob started doing it and really like playing metal riffs and doing it in a tongue-in-cheek way, and you guys did it, but then it wound up in Sum 41 songs. You guys did it in a more seamless, like, oh shit, this makes sense. Not just playing, like Gob would go into a Metallica riff in the middle of a song, and it was, we eventually did incorporate stuff. Yeah. And now a lot of bands do, but yeah, Sum was one of the first bands that like did it well, and it didn't seem like a joke, like people would take it serious.
Around the time that we saw this skate video, Welcome to Hell, and Jamie Thomas, he did this incredibly long rail, just grinding down, and it was all done to the intro of Hallowed Be Thy Name, which was one of our favorite Maiden songs at the time, and we were just like, I can't believe that these dudes love this shit too, and it just, from there, it just, everything made sense, it all kind of went together.
I honestly don't know what my voice is on guitar because I kind of like to play different things.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I think it would take like a third party to say, and it's probably like punk metal, I guess.
Like in tons of interviews, I'll talk about how great you are as a guitar player because this guy, like he literally can hear things and then just play them, right? So guys like me who stick to the more percussive end and more groove-oriented stuff, I don't really stray that far from pentatonic that much. It's like to watch Tom play and like hear him just pick things out of the air. It's pretty incredible. And then for Tom watching me,
no, that's a huge compliment. Thank you.
No problem.
I mean, I just always like to learn by ear, and clearly like loved Maiden, but didn't learn all the riffs. I like learn weird, like I'll learn something like the Guess Who.
Yeah. So just the other night we were going through acoustic stuff and he was just blasting this out.
I don't know.
And like
I'm not playing it right.
And I'm sitting there, I'm watching you try to play it, and I'm like, yeah, for sure, like. And yeah.
But I like to learn weird shit. So like a challenge, and as far as like being the best at metal or punk, I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And not that you care either.
No, not really.
But
no.
You got like a shreddier right hand than me.
Yeah. Okay.
We both do that shit, but you do it very well.
I think that's one of the things that has made Sum 41 able to do the stuff that we do is that we can all play rhythm, which that's like the first thing guys like Keith Richards, you know, that they'll say, like, make sure your right hand is on point. So that's something you should highlight as far as the interview if you're a guitar player out there. Make sure you can play rhythm. Play guitar as much as you can. And make sure that you're using everything that we said, or you're gonna fail miserably. Just kidding.
When you start liking music, you kind of like the same thing, be it like screamo, or metal, or you know, punk rock, and you like bands that all sound the same. But most of those bands have different elements in their music as well, and if they all listen to the same thing, they would write the same thing, and everything would be boring. So it's good to learn different things. Be it like your mom or your dad's favorite band or whatever, like learn some of those chords and see what makes it work or whatever.
Yeah, and learn the way you want. Learn exactly the way that you want and you have the most fun to get to where you want to be musically. Because otherwise you're putting yourself through schooling and something that could be, you know, frustrating in the wrong way, that when you actually overcome that mountain, which could be represented by a riff or a rhythm or something like that, you know, it's not going to be as satisfying. So make sure you're doing exactly what you like.